Never little wannabe gangster trying to play hard.
Welcome to the second season of the MaXed podcast. I have a real dear friend of mine. I care about this guy a lot. I care about what goes on in his life. He's a real good friend of mine. I want to bring on Metta World Peace. Thanks for coming on the MaXed podcast show. Metta, appreciate that, my brother.
Yeah, my guy, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. I know we was collaborating. Came to your event out there in East Town, and
yes,
it's always good to spend time with you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. The way we like to start at the MaXed podcast, just if you know a story or whatever you know or heard a story about old Mad Max, you can go ahead and elaborate on that, whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, I know, right? That's actually really interesting. Let the guests start it off, huh? I mean,
yes.
I started watching basketball. I think I saw my first game was a Bulls versus Detroit. I remember B.J. Armstrong getting a shot in the corner. I was 10 years old. First time I ever seen an NBA game. And so that's when I got introduced to it. So as the Bulls started, you become a bandwagon guy, right, as a kid.
Yeah.
But then as I got older, then I saw when you guys went to the finals, but I wasn't really watching basketball at that time. So as I see y'all win the finals, right, and then you started to hear, as you get older, you start to hear the stories. You start to hear about Mitch Richmond. You start to hear about Mad Max. Like, hey, this guy was nice. This guy could hold Jordan like this. This guy could guard Jordan. This guy can't. When I did my history, I was like, man, you was actually a real problem. And then, but they didn't have a lot of highlights back. They didn't have YouTube.
Right.
Right? They didn't have a lot of highlights. So I go on YouTube. And I'm like, damn, Mad Max was like, he went into the stands. I didn't even realize he went in. I'm like,
that's right.
Mad Max went into the stands. And then I did research a bunch of NBA players was going into the stands back. It was wild. I'm like, man, I just kept the tradition going, huh? But your game was tight, though. I think, like, the passion, I think you had to have that. But when you turn the volume low and watch your game, I wanted to ask you, like, because you was on a team with Hakeem, but Hakeem wasn't on that team, right? What would you have done in your career? Like, you would have been, your numbers would have been crazy. What do you?
Wow. Yeah. I would have been all-star, 8-time all-star, out of my 13 years. I dream wasn't on the team. I averaged 20 plus, because I just have to give it up and dream all the time. I was the second guy that, we give it in the dream, and then I was the second guy that, up in line. So when we get it to dream, then I had to do my thing. So, but yeah, man, that was a great question. But if dream wasn't there, I definitely would have been an 8-time, 9-time all-star. I definitely would have been.
That's incredible. I remember looking when I went to play with Kobe, I became a role player. I had to become the best role player, I could be.
That's right. You know your role. That's the way it's supposed to be. I want you to talk to me about your upbringing in New York. How did you come up in New York, man? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, New York City. I love New York City. It's like the good time, bad time. I remember when kids used to be outside, you go outside in the morning, it's about 10, 15 kids, and by 12 noon in the summertime, it's 25, 30, then 3 p.m. is 100. I miss those days. And obviously, sometimes people are out the park, then ain't nobody outside. Things out. Let December start trickling back outside.
Yeah, it's different now, man. These kids are different nowadays, man. What other sport did you play, and what sport did you have a passion for besides basketball?
Now, my dad was a boxer, so my dad was a pro boxer.
Wow.
Which is why I'm getting into boxing, promoting, and either management or promoting. But some people ask me, well, you don't got no history. One, I do got history. We came up fighting since we was kids. And then also my dad was a pro boxer. He's 2-1 on boxrec.com.
Wow.
Which is so, boxing was something that I loved. My dad didn't let me box because he didn't want us getting hit.
Yeah.
So he didn't want us getting hit. So he was like, nah, you just play ball, stay out the ring. I really wanted to box. That's my favorite sport. Basketball. I love basketball. Not as much as I love boxing.
Wow. Well, I did not know that. That's something. Here you go. Ron Artest, he loved boxing more than basketball coming up. That's great. I know that. But I can tell the way you use them hands, I know you was doing something with some boxing or something.
I got to go right cross.
Right cross. Yeah. So what made you decide to go to St. John's, man? I know you want to stay close to home. So what made you decide on St. John's?
St. John's, well, freshman year in high school, I was doing bad in school, coming out of 8th grade, coming out of, public school system and not necessarily having a skill set to do well. Failing freshman year at LaSalle Academy half the year. Then I picked up my grades. And then as I picked my grades up to senior year, I had a 95 average my last semester. I had a 79 average. It was actually 79.8 over 4 years.
Wow.
And I was like a B.
Right.
I got a letter from Princeton. So when I got the letter from Princeton, I more wanted to be an architect more than, I didn't only want to play basketball in college.
Wow.
So when Princeton sent me the letter, I was like, damn, like I might have to do this because at one point in time, did I ever even think I was going to go to Princeton? So wow. I almost went to Princeton, but then I wanted to, kind of get basketball be the focus. So I was going to go to Miami. Miami had a great architect program down. I visited Notre Dame, 2 great architect programs. Then Miami of Ohio, because Ray Martin was there, he's from Queensbridge, and Wally Zerbiak was there. And I visited Providence because Shamgar Wells was there. Then I visited St. John's. So initially, when I visited those 5 schools, I was going to go to Miami. So that's where I was going. I went to major in architecture. So the day I was going on Mr. Quick MSG show for high school kid, New York sports. So as I was going on the show, I had the Miami hat and the St. John's hat behind the desk. So, I put on the St. John's hat.
Wow. That's how you made your decision?
Yeah, I was like, what I'm saying? I'm just going to make it when I'm on TV. So I had both hats with me. And I was that close to going to Miami.
Wow, that's great, man. That's big stuff right there. And then I know you love it now for mathematics. And I know you majored in mathematics in college. So how hard was that? And tell me about that path that you was going through with that.
So initially I wanted to major in architecture, right? And then, so I wanted to be a math teacher at 13 years old. So I knew I wanted to be a math teacher, junior high school. So I was trying to get better at math. And then I was going to major in architecture. But as I tried to major in architecture, it was too hard to do that, play ball. It was just too hard for me.
Of course.
So I dropped architecture. Then I tried to major in art, but I fell into the same problems. So I dropped art. At that point, I was just focused. I did an easier class. And then I was going to attempt to just focus on math as I got my footing under me. But then by that time I knew I was going to the NBA. So once April hit and we was in March Madness, you get off school, you don't have to go to class. It was like once we got back from the Elite Eight, I didn't come back to school.
And that was my next question.
So that was it.
Yeah, that was my next question, because you did 2 years in college. And, you made it to the Elite Eight, and then I think you all played against Ohio State. Tell me about that experience and all that stuff in college and playing in the Elite Eight.
Man, it was crazy. We lose to Ohio State by 2 points, 57-55, to go to the Final Four. Like, that stings to this day. And then, I can't. With Hamilton, they beat us in the Big East championship by 20, and they went on to win, the Big East and the NCAA. right? So I'm like, I was hoping we could have met them again and maybe beat them in a championship. But it just wasn't meant to be, man. And it still leaves a bitter taste in my mouth that I'm like, damn, 2 points, 57, 55. Like,
I understand that.
It's tough. But it was definitely a great experience. I had to say I went to the Elite Eight, so, that was cool.
And you were selected. Now, you got drafted by Chicago. You went over there and played with a nemesis of mine. That motherfucker was a killer, Michael Joe. God damn, man. So tell me about that experience playing with this guy, man, Mike, man, and how much that meant to you.
I mean, for you to say here, killer, that's a lot, because I know when you was playing against him, I never got the sense that you was worried about him.
Right. That's right. When you play against somebody, you don't care about that person, man.
I never got the sense. You see other people like MJ, or their facial expression might change.
Yes.
I never, MJ's for sure a killer too, but I never got the sense that you was ever worried.
No, never that. Not when I'm playing this guy. And then you made the rookie, all second team rookie, man, and they traded you over to Indiana. I mean, what was your first thoughts about that when they traded you over there from Chicago to Indiana?
I mean, playing in Chicago is crazy because, like, Michael Jordan is my favorite player. As a kid, you know how that go. Like, I'm 44 now, but when I was 19 and got drafted to Chicago,
yes,
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was, because I'm kind of a passionate guy. Like,
right.
I feel like I just want to make it out of my hood, and I wasn't really like, basketball wasn't the most important thing to me. Because even when I was in Chicago, on Fridays, I'm driving back into New York 13 hours. I'm coming back to practice on Monday. Sometimes I'll be in New York for 18 hours. I just wanted to go back to the hood.
Wow.
I miss my hood so much that I feel like I didn't have nobody to relate to. But being in Chicago, it was incredible, and I didn't understand how blessed I was to be in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand, like, God just blessed me. I was more like, dang, like, I need to go back to the hood, and I can't wait to get home and get away from these suburbs. And that's how I was in Chicago. And then I got drafted to Indiana. When I got traded to Indiana, it was kind of bittersweet. Got traded on the bus in Miami. But the cool thing about Indiana, I got traded there, and Sean Green played for Indiana. He from Queensbridge. He from Nas Block. Vern Fleming played for Indiana. He's from Queensbridge. I'm from his block.
Wow.
Every time I would walk to the bus to go to school, it's the same block that Richie Luke got killed by the cops.
Wow.
Right there, Vern Fleming was probably there. No, Vern Fleming was not there because he was already, this was 1990 when Richie Luke passed. I think Vern Fleming might have been in the NBA or maybe gone to the NBA in 1990. Okay. Maybe he was in the NBA in 1990.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was in the NBA in 1990.
Right.
So I used to walk past Vern Fleming house, his building, like every day, and then Mobb Deep block and Capone block and Siena, they the next block right there, like 10 feet, 20 feet. So when I got to Indiana, Vern Fleming was the coach. And you got to keep in mind, I played for Vern Fleming coaches. I played for Lou Gons, who coached Vern. Vern went to St. John's. They went to St. John's. And I know everybody who also know Vern, like, Russell, everybody in the neighborhood who I was playing ball with, these men, right, on the block.
Yeah.
These are all Vern Fleming people. These are all Sean Green people. You know what I mean? So when I got a chance to be coached by Vern, that was surreal, man. I would just sit there and I'd have Vern passing me the ball. I would call home. I'd be like, yo, I'm with Vern Fleming right now. This is crazy.
Yeah. Legend Vern.
We love Vern. And he was an Olympian. I was a champion and defensive player of the year, but Vern was an Olympian, champion, gold medalist. So he got that.
Right.
And something else.
Right. That's a good story right there, man. And in 03, 04, now you made your first All-Star game. You was Defensive Player of the Year. Now that's some big shit right there for me. That's big in my Defensive Player of the Year. I'd rather the Offensive Player of the Year. Defense is everything for me. That's big, man. You got my flowers for that. That's big.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
I think that deserves to get in the Hall of Fame because the year I got Defensive Player of the Year, all small forwards average 6 points on average. So I kept all small forwards to 6 points.
Wow.
For the whole season.
Wow. You played and then you played this guy, Jermaine O'Neal, Reggie Miller. Tell me about, just playing with those guys and coming out of Eastern Conference and the incident that happened in the Palace. I hate to bring that up, but I had to bring it up. So talk to me about all that shit, man.
It was wild. Like Reggie was great. I love Reggie. I know you and Reggie got the bike club.
Yes.
You got both of ride bikes.
Yes.
But Reggie's incredible, man. Great vet. I wish I could have got him a title or helped him get a title, or he could have helped me get a title at Indiana. The brawl was weird because, we had a squad of dogs, actually wolves, like Jerry West would say, because that was all wolves over there.
Right.
And then, when the brawl happened, it was unfortunate. It was definitely 50-50 my fault, 50-50 the fan.
Damn right.
The person who suffered the most was Reggie Miller.
Yes.
The second people who suffered the most was the Indiana fans. I suffered a lot. The players didn't suffer. A lot of players suffered a lot.
Yes.
But even though a lot of players didn't lose as much money to me, but it's all relative. Because some players lost money, but they wasn't getting as much as others. So a lot of people lost a lot.
Right.
Everybody put their life on the line, and I think Reggie Miller lost the most.
Right.
In terms of that opportunity.
Right.
But it was just a bad day. The guy who threw the bear at me. I mean, we're friends now.
Wow.
It kind of showed. He told me that he threw the bear at me because somebody bet him $50 that he couldn't hit me with the cup of beer.
There.
You know what I mean? So, and now that we're friends, it showed everybody that was calling us names, all the media.
Right.
I was calling us dogs and all that stuff. Me and the guy, cool. Since when can a man address a man? That was just two men. We he from Detroit, I'm from New York.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know man stuff.
Yes.
Some people don't understand. Oh wow, two men is in the room. Then you get other men that be like, oh wow, those what is that? No, it's two men.
Right.
Two men.
Yes.
And we, he obviously came up from the background. You fight and you move on the next day. I came up from that background, but you move on. And what a coincidence that me and him is cool. I mean, it kind of cost us a lot, but I feel like Reggie definitely lost the most.
Right.
And I got a huge fan base in Detroit. I love Detroit. Detroit is, I love Detroit, man.
Yeah. You went on to Sacramento, and I was like, well, damn, I'd never seen this before. I seen a guy put on number 93. I said, well, damn, I want to know. Tell me about what inspired you to wear 93, and tell me about my man, Rick Alderman, which coached me too in Sacramento. Great man. I like it. Yes.
So Rick is incredible. Rick Alderman he got the love back because I was gonna retire the year before the brawl because I was already I just wanted to retire and just get some things together. I wanted to give back all the money. I think I told them I said, they can just have the money and I'll try to come back to the NBA and maybe make a team. But and then when I got to Rick Alderman, I was even more depressed because I was like, man, I'm missing all the all-star games and all defensive teams. I was sick. I'm like, this is over. So I told Rick, hey, I said, Rick, I'm gonna try to, if you could bring me off the bench and then sit me a little bit, and then I'm gonna try to ease out the league. I'm gonna try to retire. And then Rick said, nah. Rick said, we don't go as far as you take us, Ron. That's what he told me. We was in 11th place, I think, when I got there in February.
Yeah.
I was one of the best players in the league at this time. At this point in time, I was probably top 20, even though I wasn't making the All-Star game for other reasons. But so I got us back. I helped us. I got Sharif Abdul-Rahim the first time and the only time he ever been to the playoffs.
Lord.
We went to the playoffs. He was 25-14. And then that season, Kenny Smith called me the second half MVP. That was big for me. And I made first team all defense in a half a season. That was crazy.
That's crazy. That's big.
I made first team all defense in a half a season.
That's big. Right.
So that, and, so it was great. Rick Adams is like a father. I always call Rick Adams like a father figure. But I miss coaches like Rick. Like, you know, Rick, you go into the locker room, you say, "Good morning, Rick." He ain't gonna say nothing back to you.
Yeah, he's just.
I'll be right in Rick's face. I'll be like, "Hey," I'll do it on purpose. I'll be like, "Yo, Mike, give you, hey, Mike, watch this. Hey, good morning, Rick." I'll be like, close to Rick ain't say no. I'll just, you know what? Rick is a real man.
Yes, he is. Yeah, good guy. I like Rick. Great man. Yes. Yeah. You went over to Houston. Now you play with Yao, Tracy McGrady. And, you know, it was hard to shake off, you know, all the narratives and, you know, all the stuff that was revolving around you, man. Talk to me about all that stuff, man. I know it was hard to shake that off after you went what you went through, but talk to me about with Yao and T-Mac.
Yeah, that was tough, man. You know, we had Dikembe too. So Dikembe, let's just start with Dikembe Mutombo. Right. He was averaging 10 and 10 for a long time that season. But Dikembe was 43 years old. And with Dikembe, we win the title. Dikembe, so in that season, T-Mac hurt himself, like in December. So he was out. I was playing about 8 minutes a game when T-Mac and Shane was on the way. So I was kind of like, I was frustrated, but I was still going to work. You know, Rick Adams would put me in sometimes with like, you know, 30 seconds to go in the first. Want to deal with it. So at this point, I'm just like, I'm sitting up in my head. I'm just like, damn, this is my contract year. I'm only playing 8 minutes a game. This is over. And then, you know, T-Mac got hurt. Unfortunately, T-Mac got hurt, and I was inserted in the starting lineup. And then I was actually able to help us get out the first round the first time since you was there. So we got out the first round of playoffs. Mind you, I was averaging 17, 20, 25 against the Lakers in the playoffs. But, you know, Yao Ming, we beat the Lakers game 1. Yao Ming breaks his foot game 3. Dikembe breaks his knee against the Portland Trailblazers. We were the 6 seed. The Blazers were the 3 seed. We got them up out of there. But Dikembe breaks his knee because big, heavy Greg Oden just
yeah, Big Greg.
Big Greg, man. Big Greg was incredible, by the way. And you know, we had Dikembe, you know, Yao and T-Mac all out. And we took the Lakers to 7. Aaron Burks played big. A young Kyle Lowry. You know, Kyle Lowry was super. There was something about him, but he was still young. I think he was a rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a rookie, but he was still young. But it was something about him, and I was like, man, this kid is a leader, kind of. I wish we would have trusted him more.
Wow.
Because he played pretty solid, but we didn't really know what he could do. But he showed what he could do throughout his career.
Yes, he had a great career. Yes, still had playing. I like that boy's game. He's that coach out there on the board away from me. You signed a 5-year deal with the Lakers. What was your initiative conversation when you planning on signing with the Lakers?
So initially after that, so the Rockets, what happened was after the Rockets, I wanted to go back to the Rockets. Because, you know, I'm competitive. I'm on a team. I don't want to go to nobody else's team. You know, I'm not trying to play with anybody. I'm on this team. We lost, trying to run it back.
Right.
But initially, they said they were going to bring me back, but then some things happened that was very, you know, that I don't necessarily want to talk about. But because the fans thought I left the Rockets. I didn't leave the Rockets. You know, what was told to be didn't happen. I played very well, and I just couldn't go back. So I had to. Then I was going to go to Greece. So I told my agent, David Baldwin, at the time, because I always wanted to play in Europe in my prime. So as we called Greece, they didn't think I was serious, but I feel like I didn't have the connections because there was no reason why I wasn't in Greece. There was no reason why I couldn't play in Greece. And then I also called Angola briefly. When we called it, playing in Africa was something I wanted to do. So when I called Angola, I couldn't get through the right line. And at that time, I didn't know about business development.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was kind of bitter. So then I was going to go to the Knicks. I was also in talks with the Knicks, but then Isaiah Thomas left. So when Isaiah Thomas left the Knicks, and then Donnie Walsh got there, it was 6 years ago. I just had the brawl. So I didn't think, we tried the Knicks. We did try, but then that didn't happen. So then I tried to go back to Indiana. So as we tried to go back to Indiana, then that was like, everything that happened with the brawl. So my agent was like, nah, nothing in Indiana for you. So then I tried to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
So then when I tried to go to Detroit, there was, I wasn't scared. You know what I mean? But everybody else was scared. I thought it was going to be dope because, Tayshaun is not there. I just finished averaging 25 in the playoffs. I could still ball.
Right.
I'm like, let's do it. Let's go to Detroit. That's going to be huge. Like, I'm a Detroit type of guy.
Yeah. Blue collar.
I'm a red zone type of guy. I'm a Detroit type of guy. I'm a, you know what I mean? Like,
of course. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I was like, dude, this could be a big story. And plus, it shows like redemption. It shows that you could get through things. So Indiana, Detroit is somewhere I wanted to go, and then that didn't happen. That didn't happen, but I also got a call midnight of the deadline of the trade free agency.
Right.
That call was from Mitch Kupchak.
Oh.
So when they called me, I was like, man, my agent told me something. I was like, what do you want? That was the first thing that came out of my head. I was like, he said, the Lakers want to speak to you. And I said, for what? What? When he said they want you on a team. And in my mind, I'm like, what? The Lakers? That was the last place I thought I was going. I met with Dr. Buss that next morning. After I met with Dr. Buss, I spoke to Kobe briefly. Because I told Dr. Buss, I said, I'm coming. He was like, we can't pay you what we worth. But he said, we want you here.
Lord.
I respect that. At least he kind of was like, all right.
Coming from him.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool. Thanks for that. I was like, you know what? That's enough for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I said, all right, Troy, give me the contract. And then Kobe called me, spoke to him briefly. R.I.P. Kobe. He was like, he said, let's try to win it. I wrote a song called Champions in June 30th. June 30th, right before I got that call.
Wow.
And then we won the championship, and I put out the song Champions. It was just, it was crazy, man. It was a crazy experience.
And tell me, how easy was it for you to connect with Coach Phil Jackson, man? That's one of the greatest coaches ever.
Well, Phil, he said he manages emotions and he manages like egos. So, you don't only connect with him, you kind of follow more than connect, I guess, if that makes sense, because you get very brief time with Phil. Hey, his office is actually always open, which is, he said it. And I didn't realize it until like the second year, or maybe a little bit in the first year. But yeah, you can go right in Phil's office and he's like, hey, what's up? But it was more like that. And then, other than that, it was learning a triangle. The triangle for me was, it wasn't a lot. I mean, the first 3 months, was tough. But after that, I basically had to spot up. I didn't have to do much, but just didn't have to be on time.
All right. Well,
that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, in Game 5 now against Phoenix, the game winner en route to the NBA Finals. How driven were you to make your first, NBA Finals?
Yeah, that was crazy, man. Because I knew when I was in my prime, I was pretty good. So I knew in my prime I'm gonna get to the finals. Like somehow I'm locking damn near everybody up, but LeBron and Kobe and with the exception of Chase and Rip Hamilton. So I'm gonna get there somehow. Then when the brawl happened, and I thought that kind of the basketball gods would say, you don't respect the game. So I haven't been to the playoffs. I'm missing the playoffs with Sacramento Kings. And in my mind, I'm like, I deserve it. I deserve not to be there. To win the finals, I felt like I deserved that too. Because I work hard. I locked a lot of people up. I scored on a lot of people. I put my work in. And I felt like, wow, like not only that I deserve it, but I feel like, man, finally, I felt grateful. I felt like everything job is done. I feel like my job was done. I wasn't necessarily focused on number 2. I was more like, because I really always wanted the championship. I really always wanted the MVP. MVP was that's a short window. You get a small opportunity for that. I had a small opportunity. I kind of messed that up. And then the championship, it just made me think about my career, and it just like put a bow on everything. Then the next year I got the citizenship award. The things started to go well.
Right. That's big. That was big. I did that awards. You went to you made a big shot in this game, man. Game 7. I mean, that was a real big shot, man. And then after the game, though, I was surprised. You thank your psychologist. I was like, wow, that's different. I mean, damn, you thought like psychologist. I thought that was unique, man. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, man, because at the age of 27 in Sacramento, I started to really take psychology serious. I took my psychologist from SAC. No, I'm sorry, my mandated session was transferred from SAC to Houston. Then after I finished my mandated sessions, when I went to the Lakers, I kept my psychologist. I didn't even know she was a psychologist. I said I want to thank my psychiatrist, but the whole time she was a psychologist. She told me at the end when I thanked her on national television. But she got me through the season. But when I look at my season in Houston, when you look at that series against the Lakers and even the other teams and how I played, my shots was falling. I was doing more. I felt more relaxed. I wasn't as tense, and I didn't have enough anxiety. And they had to do a lot with her. Right. It also had to do with me working on my game, but I was able to bring in a little calmness. And then when I got to the Lakers, I was ready for a lot of the anxieties with not knowing if you're going to win. Game 7, down 13 in the fourth quarter. Like, oh my goodness. Like, this shit is on. This is over. Like, like what you going to do now? We make up 10 points? But, so like, I had to, when the game was over and I was able to just breathe and focus and just be relaxed through the whole game, it made me think like, oh, I thank my psychologist. So I'm on national TV. I'm like super happy. I'm just like thanking everybody in the hood. Clippers first. I did shout out my hood first. I shout out a few of my boys personally. I'm like, shout out to Rough and Childless. And then I thank my psychiatrist, who was actually my psychologist. And I want to thank God also for putting me in position. I forgot to thank God that day. Let's do that right now.
Let's do that This was. I was like, wow, okay, my God, you changed your name to Metta World Peace. I mean, I know that was just some spiritual journey of yours. Talk to me a little bit about the change and how necessary was it for you to do that.
Yeah, man. Metta World Peace was about at some point during my career, about halfway through, I was going through a journey trying to find out where I was from. Because Black Americans, since we came out of slavery, and then our banks were gone, our community was burned, our art was burned, our history was destroyed. So I always had an issue with not knowing like where I'm from, like so I could go back. So what I did was I got a map and I started to like track back slavery and track it back to the old times. And I went to Israel, I went to Egypt, went to Africa, went to Europe, just all in my head, just mapping things out. And I started to go on the spiritual journey and I didn't necessarily want to go to those websites and try to figure out where I was from. Like, I don't know about the websites. It's not going to tell me I'm from Kenya. But, so when I went on this journey, I got inspired by Buddhism. And initially I wanted to change my name in 2007 when Chad Ochocinco did. When he changed his name, that's when I wanted to do it. But all those names I had was ratchet. It was like So Hood, Queensbridge. that was my initial names. But then as I got older and I evolved, it became like Metta, Buddhism. And I said, this is the right time. I said, this is right. So when I changed it to Metta. And then I was going to change it to another Indian last name. But I said, I can't have two Indian names. I'm not Indian. Now, I said, I need a different last name. So and then it came to me, I'm like, shit, world peace. I'm like, right now, we going through a lot. And I said, this would be a great time to market world peace. And so I was like, Metta world peace, Metta meaning kindness, friendship, like the opposite, of who I was.
Right.
I just had I was kind of bitter. I was always upset. I was always like kind of on edge. And then it was like the opposite. It was like, what about if you flip that? It became like who you really are.
Wow.
Since you was a kid. And that's how it came about. And just going on this journey.
Wow.
It's some people, they call it crazy, but then you look at people going to war, like people really out there going to war. Like and Mobb Deep said it. There's a war going on outside. Like, yeah, people rapping a song, but I live on the block. I grew up the same floor as Havoc and Mobb Deep and Prodigy on the third floor. They right here, 3A, Killer B right here. My cousin door right there. It really is a war going on outside.
That's right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So people don't see the perspective, not only in my neighborhood, people dying, but around the world, people dying. At some point in time, you can't just say, I'm just going to go get a coffee today. At some point in time, you got to be like, hey, y'all got to get your act together. Everybody out there don't like each other. Y'all got to get your act together because we live in this world for our children. Jerry West left it for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Bill Russell, they left it for us.
Yes.
What we gonna do with it, right? So it's like this type of thing.
Right. It's Scott, yeah. You got this was big too, man. You got a lot of good shit going on in your life right now, man. I'm happy for you, man. I love you to death, man. UCLA, the health system, Secure Award. I mean, the first individual not associated with UCLA health systems. Tell us about that. Now, that was big right there, man.
I love UCLA. UCLA, they really I'm trying to do something big. When you look at the mental health, I changed my name, and you see they put all the equality on back NBA players' jerseys. We set the tone. Mental health. Look at all the sports organizations that now got mandated mental health therapists. Look at all the corporations that's doing wellness in the workplace now. That's back, that 2010, that date back to when we think that psychiatrists. And UCLA was one of the first big institutions to be like, you know what? I really respect you and recognize you for bringing awareness at a big scale. And I did. I always wanted to bring awareness to mental health. People don't realize that I played with players that were struggling. Nobody saw it though. I was struggling as a player. And we got a lot of players that play with us that nobody know what they was going through, but we know. We was in the locker room when they were struggling, when they couldn't make it to practice, when they were depressed. But you couldn't talk about it back then. And we're like, you know what? This ain't right. Like, why do we got to keep hiding it? Why do we got to keep acting like, oh, we tough? Now we some of our players are stressed. So when you stress, your financial literacy is not going to be up to par.
Right.
You're not going to be making the right decisions. You're going to be sex addiction kick in, gambling addiction kick in, drug addiction kick in, and we really going through this as players. So I'm like, sometimes people would be looking at it like it's crazy, but this is actually really serious. And I could take my serious side and I could apply it to something meaningful, not just a fight. Not like, oh, I'm serious, I want to fight. Nah, I'm serious about making a difference. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that same passion. If people don't see it, they just look at it as you being vulnerable and you're weak. But now we just want to see our colleagues do better.
Right. that was my next question. Now, you know, me and you about this mental health. We love this, and our passion, I think, is pretty much the same about mental health. And I like what you just said, like, you know, not being scared to come out and say I need help. It's okay to ask for help. That's what I tell guys all the time. So that was a great ed. But talk to me about your passion for the mental health side now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm on the board of UCLA psychiatric ward. I received an award from the Biden administration. I got recognized from a Democrat to an independent. I'm working with RFK Jr., who's recognized the work that I'm doing from Republican to Democrat to independent. And I don't really acknowledge any party. Independent, if anything, but I'm definitely not on the right or left side.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, I'm like,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's like, why pick sides? I'm not fighting against any side. I want to see people come together and go forward.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So from that perspective, you know, I really feel like we're on to something. I really enjoy just like telling my story, and then hopefully that could inspire someone else.
Right.
So we make sacrifices, you know, to help other people or to inspire other people, which is good.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great story. I feel, you know, how much you care about that. That's dear to my heart too. And you made it to Dancing with the Stars now. Your experience with that was crazy. Ain't no way that I can't do that. Tell me about that.
I mean, you know, as a kid, we love TV. As a kid, right, you say, I want to be an actor. I want to be a singer. I want to be Luther Vandross. I want to be Keith Sweat. I want to be Eric B. Rakim. I want to be Superman. Right. And you know, when you get an opportunity, it's like, yeah, I got the street side, all that side. But I'm like, dude, I got an opportunity to be there toward the stars and have a little fun. And some people call it the corny. I'm like, listen, if you get a chance to do Dancing with the Stars, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. I'm sure Michael, of course, you know, I'm sure if he wanted to, he could have did it. But I was like, I'm doing all those TV shows, Dancing with the Stars, or anything else that was. But sometimes it could be a little too much, honestly, because then they start dressing you funny. You know, I was on one show. I'm like, okay, maybe not. Maybe I have to stop.
That's good stuff. Yeah, you tell me who your favorite defenders is. I mean, who's your favorite defenders in the NBA right now?
Man, right now, I like MaXed. I like Kawhi when he's healthy. He's been hurt. Drew Holiday. I didn't really understand how good of a defender he was until I retired, and then I went back and watched tape. I'm like, oh, he is a good defender. I like Wemby. I like Wembanyama because he won it. He Will Chamberlain to me. People don't understand.
Yes.
Will Chamberlain averaged 13 points his first year, or 10. That's what people don't understand about Will. Will ironed his way up to average 50. So when people say like, Will, when he was fighting against firemen, that's not true. Because if he was fighting against firemen, this is no shot at anyone individually. It's more a shot at the conversation, because a lot of people saying it. If he's fighting against whack players, then why was he only averaging 10 points his rookie year? He wasn't fighting against no whack players.
Right. Right. Real ball player. That's right.
And I feel like that's how Wembanyama. I think Wembanyama, you're gonna see a 40. You're gonna see a 40 ball. Yeah. You're gonna see it.
Wow.
Yeah. We gonna.
What's young NBA team had the brightest future? I got one more question after this. Which young NBA team has the brightest future you think right now?
I'm going with the Pacers right now. I think the Pacers, Rick Carlisle. I think he's the greatest coach of this century. Not this century. Maybe this decade.
Yeah.
Of this era.
Yeah, he's a good coach. I like Rick Carlisle.
I think with Rick, and I think with the longest reigning owners in the Simon family, I'm definitely going to go with the Pacers. I think with Halliburton, I think he's the brightest.
I like that. That's good. Yeah. Hey, the management group, the Ron Artest management group. Let's talk about that before we get on to the last question. And I appreciate you so much for coming on my show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me the platform. I really appreciate you.
Oh no, you know that. Come on, brother. That's what we do for each other. You know. But yeah. Talk to me about your management group, man.
Yeah,
talk about that.
It's been a long journey, yo. It's been stressful days.
I already know.
It's been hard times, honestly. Like building something that's from scratch. Not necessarily having a background in business. Even though I went to major architecture and that part was there, but I was playing basketball for 17 years. I was playing party.
You know nothing about that, right?
I could tell you how much about a Cristal is without the after tax. You know what I mean? I don't know nothing else. So from that perspective, when I got kind of more focused and wanted to continue to be positive, you know, it took me about 8 years to build this firm, and we do a lot from. We have a lot of different partners and agents that work with us and managers. So technology development, business development, a lot of different services, athlete services, 30 companies, 30 plus companies in the portfolio, helping some of our best stories, buttercloth.com. I got involved in that company. It was $0 in revenue. We helped take it to 14 million in revenue.
Wow.
Over, you know, it took us like 6 years or something to scale up.
Wow.
EasyCareLink.com is another company I'm proud of. A poor lady from the Philippines asked me to help her with a nursing idea she had. We helped scale that company from 6 figures to high 7 figures.
Wow.
And I'm working with companies now. And now that was like years ago when I started those companies. I learned more. So now I'm working with bigger companies now. And for people to come to me now and like ask me my concept on their business, I mean, it's I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful.
Wow.
I worked hard.
Yes.
I really worked hard for it. I went back to school. I did what I had to do. In artistmanagementgroup.com, you know, we would love to work with you. If you're an athlete, we would love to work with you in anywhere there's an opportunity, representation, business development. If you're an entrepreneur, we would love to work with you, and so on. From family offices to, you know, we can service a lot now. It's just an incredible journey. Artist Management Group.
Wow.
I love my team.
Wow.
We're a C corporation, and we're just looking to continue to grow. So yeah, thanks for letting me, kind of shout that out.
Yeah. Hey man, thanks a lot, man. That was a great interview, man. I appreciate you so much.
Never little wanna be gangster trying to play hard.